I heard my internet provider's getting on fiber. That should be nice. Keeps things regular. It's not that kind of fiber, is it? Well, at least I have internet access, which is more than can be said for a lot of people. Let's talk about that. Hello there, all you guys, gals, and non binary pals. Thank you for making the climb atop the lookout. My name is Derek, aka Kami, and today I want to talk about something that's been sitting with me lately. No, I don't mean my computer, or my phone, or my gaming systems. It's something bigger than just tech. It's bigger than the internet, bigger than social media. I want to talk about cultural survival in these digital spaces. You see, that might sound like one of those phrases that gets tossed around in academic circles and loses its meaning. Like the word loquacious. But when you really think about it, it's actually pretty simple. We have to ask ourselves a couple questions. Who gets to exist online? Who gets to be seen? Who gets to tell their story? Because the internet, for a long time, has been sold to us as this neutral thing. A place without borders, without geography, without power structures. Just information floating around, surging through a series of tubes. But that's never been true. You see, the internet is physical. It lives on land. It runs through cables. It depends on infrastructure. And just like railroads and highways before it, where those systems get built and who they get built for is what matters. If you start looking closely, you start seeing a pattern. Some communities are connected early and easily. Some are connected later after a lot of struggle. And some are still fighting just to be included at all. But here's the thing that hits hardest. Even when systems exclude people, people still find ways to build their own. You see, I came across several stories recently about indigenous communities building their own broadband networks. Not waiting for big telecom companies, not waiting for the government timelines, just saying, if no one's going to connect us, we'll connect ourselves. And that kind of thinking, that kind of forward initiative, that changes everything. Because suddenly, the internet, it isn't just a tool. It becomes a place where their culture can live. Language preservations. Not unlike what I just did. Having to preserve the language of not being able to speak, apparently. Oral histories. Things that would be, spoken around a campfire back in the day. They become digital archives. Community events. Youth learning from their elders. Elders learning how to navigate new spaces. People separated by distance, reconnecting through something that, at its core, is just a single signal moving through the air. It's survival. It's adaptation. It's evolution. It's continuity. And I keep coming back to this idea that technology doesn't just shape the future. It carries the past with it. You see, when communities build their own digital spaces, they're not just getting access to faster Wi-Fi. They're protecting identity. They're protecting memory. They're making sure that the next generation has something to inherit. Because culture disappears like that when it has nowhere to live. And for a lot of communities, the internet has become a new kind of homeland, a different digital frontier. But there's another side to this too, because the internet can connect people, but it can also erase them. Algorithms decide what gets seen. Platforms decide what gets amplified. And the loudest voices, they aren't always the most important ones. They're the most profitable ones. You see, when communities create their own digital networks, their own platforms, their own spaces, they're taking control of their narrative. They're deciding how they're represented instead of letting someone else do it for them. And that matters more than I think any of us realize. Because stories shape reality. Perception is reality. The stories that we tell, the stories that we hear, the stories that we repeat, the stories that we repeat, they all shape what people think is normal. They shape what people think is valuable. They shape what people think is worth preserving. And when certain voices are missing from that conversation, it changes the way the world sees them. Or rather, doesn't see them. It makes the world forget that they're there at all. That's why this idea of digital presence being tied to cultural survival hits so hard. Because it isn't just about tech access. It's about visibility. It's about cultural and personal dignity. Again, it's about continuity. And I can't help but look at this through a bigger, almost existential lens. We as human beings, we've always told stories to survive. We have a phrase called time immemorial, but it's kind of a misnomer because immemorial would mean beyond memory, but we tell tales of things from that time, which means that we're keeping those memories alive. Cave paintings, oral traditions, books, songs, photographs, film. Look at this photograph! Film. And now we tell them through servers and signals and shared spaces online. But the core, the meat and potatoes of it all, that hasn't changed. Legacy. Memory. We want to be remembered. We want to belong. We want to know that who we are matters enough to be seen. And in a world where everything is becoming more digital, the question becomes, who gets to carry their culture forward in that space? Because if the infrastructure isn't there, if the access isn't there, if the support isn't there, then whole communities risk being pushed further into the margins. And that's why seeing people build their own networks is such a power play. It's not just resistance, it's resilience. It's refusing to go quietly into that good night. It's refusing to be relegated to the halls, the annals of history. It's grasping for the smallest straw, the smallest strand of relevance, wrapping it around your hand and pulling yourself up. It's people saying, we're still here, and we're not waiting for permission to exist. And that resonates with me on a human level. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just an indigenous issue. While yes, largely their communities are the ones that are the most affected by this digital erasure, this digital gatekeeping, the internet redlining of it all. It's not just an indigenous issue. It's a human issue. You see, every culture, every community, every identity, we all need spaces where we can exist without being flattened and filtered or turned into something that we simply aren't. And technology is becoming one of the main places where that existence gets to happen. So the question isn't about whether the internet connects us. I feel that's an undeniable fact at this point. It's whether it allows us to stay ourselves while it does that. And when communities take control of their own digital spaces, that's when you start to see something really powerful. You start to see culture not just surviving, but adapting, living, growing, thriving, refusing to disappear. And honestly, I think there's something kind of beautiful about that. You see, it reminds me that even in a world that the only constant is change, in a world that isn't slowing down by any stretch of the measure, in a world that has become more divisive than inclusive, we still find ways to hold on to what matters. We still find ways to carry our stories forward. And maybe that's what survival has always looked like. Since time immemorial. Maybe it's been about moving forward. Taking the next step. Jumping the next gap. And when gaps keep getting put in front of you, you get tired of jumping. Not waiting for someone else to build the bridge for you to cross, but cutting down the trees and building it yourself. Maybe that's what survival has always looked like. Not standing still, but moving forward without losing who you are. Just something to think about. When it comes to cultures being snuffed out online or being kept out of the conversation, all you guys, gals, and non-binary pals, all I want is for you to be on the lookout. As always, I've been Derek, aka Kami, CEO and founder of Atop the Lookout Productions. Remember, you are deserving of love. You are loved because I love you. And in all that you do, above all else, do some good.